Hey everyone, welcome to Everyday, your daily stop for virtual reality content. I am D, and this is going to be the first video that I upload on my new fast internet service, which means you will be getting my videos faster and as soon as I'm done recording them, which is really exciting for me. What's not so exciting is it's a little dark in here. One of my light bulbs burned out, but I'll get it replaced. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite demos and what I consider to be the quintessential introductory demo to the Oculus Rift, which is a demo called Blocked In. And this was created essentially as a sort of set piece or art piece as part of a sequence of art pieces for a virtual reality project that someone was doing. And I think the reason it makes such a great introduction to the Rift is because there are absolutely no controls. Literally, the only control is you're sitting in one place, you look around, and although that sounds kind of boring, there's a lot of cool things to discover all around you just because the environment is so detailed and has a lot of creativity built into it. So, without further ado, we are going to dive into Blocked In. It's useful to have sound in this one because there are several sound sources going on, and it's nice to hear where they're coming from. And I'm putting on my headphones. Here we go. So when we first start, we're looking at this desk in front of us. And I see what appears to be some kind of green block that's being broken up into smaller green blocks. I see a little spray can, some pens and pencils, a lamp, a phone. So that's an old rotary phone, so that starts to set the setting. And I see a Game Boy that's also setting the setting, an NES. A lot of this stuff is going to be familiar to any gamer. I see this fan above my head that's taking air out of my room and presumably leading my eye over there to the window. And when I look at the window, that's when I see something insane. The world is being assaulted, apparently, by giant Tetris bricks. And this is not only bizarre, but it's foreboding, because you can hear the sound as they slide past, like the sound of something crushing or whining softly. It's hard to describe. And there's so much world building in this room. Like, you see this camera seated on those Tetris pieces by the window, and you now realize that those Tetris pieces falling are the same ones that are on your desk being disassembled. And as you continue to turn, you hear the familiar Tetris music on the radio behind you. When you look directly at it, you start to see more and more Tetris pieces around the room. You see the one holding up that chair, you see that one that's being used as a seat or stool by the table. You see the ceiling fan that's got tubes wrapped around it, and they're going out the window. And if I turn back the other way, you see this computer monitor, which at first just looks like a screensaver or something on an old computer with a 5 1/4 inch disc and these old floppy disks in this box next to it. And you can see the one-button mouse, the old keyboard. But once you've looked out the window, you begin to realize that those vague blocks that are falling down the monitor screen are actually the same city and the same blocks that you see outside your window, just in lower definition. And it's entirely possible it's all hooked up to that camera somehow. And when you finally get to the door, you take a look at the calendar, you see that one day in 1984 circled in red, and that long line going down. And I think what that is meant to indicate is that that is the day when this Tetris thing all started. And that's why everything here is from the 1984 era, because that's the time we're in, the day of the Tetris Apocalypse. And there's just... It's amazing how this one room, just by looking around, just by letting the objects in the room guide your eye through the environment, how it tells a story, how it provides this intricate, detailed experience. And I can imagine this kind of art piece where you're building an experience and a story just out of an environment being a really compelling new genre of experiences for the Oculus Rift. So we're going to get out of that. So like I said earlier, the guy who made this actually said that he's intending, or they're intending to make additional Oculus Rift experiences like this one, and there's really no telling what they're going to be like, what they're going to be based on. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of other takeoffs people do on this, because I think a lot of people, it's a very accessible way to get started with the Rift, just to build a single environment that tells a story and is compelling. It's without having to invest the tons and tons of effort that goes into making a bunch of high quality content for a complete game. And in addition, you can imagine this being kind of the start of a game. You can imagine, like, what if I opened that door and walked out? What would I find there? What else could I discover about this ongoing apocalypse, and would I be able to stop it? And that kind of, it could be a way of setting up the game. That could be really compelling. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and everybody have a Merry Christmas if you celebrate that, and a great every day.